Some of government's top priorities to be outlined during throne speech on Friday. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the National Report, I am Rikisha St. Louis. The Grenada government will outline some of its top priorities for the coming year while highlighting some of its major successes when Governor General Dame Cecile Lagrenade delivers the throne speech on Friday. This will be done during the ceremonial state opening of the 6th session of the 9th Parliament. It will be held at the Grenada Trade Center. The proceedings begin at 9 a.m. Director of Economics at the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Justin Ram, says countries in the Caribbean need to move away from the paradigm of low economic growth and high debt to GDP ratios. He's also concerned about low levels of GDP growth and increasing levels of indebtedness in the OECS. Dr. Ram, who was addressing the just concluded State of the Tourism Industry Conference in Grenada, said moving away from the paradigm will improve the region's ability to respond to the impact of natural disasters.
So what does this mean for our macroeconomy? We need to have fiscal rules. And I'm saying here that perhaps we need to have a maximum debt to GDP ratio of about 50%. And that gives us perhaps a 10% buffer to borrow when we need to build back for after disasters. Now, if you are to have a maximum debt to GDP ratio of 50%, it means that government can no longer do everything that it's currently doing. And so we have to encourage the private sector to now be the driver of economic growth and providing some of the services that we expect government to provide now. That means we need an environment that promotes productivity and competitiveness. And that's why on the right-hand side there, I'm saying that it must be private sector-led growth, private sector funding. But both of those, the public sector and the private sector, must work hand in hand.
In his presentation on the economic vulnerability of the region and how to build resilience, he said the region should be looking at inclusive growth, low debt, and prudent fiscal management. Between 1950 and 2014, 148 disasters have cost the region about $52 billion. This, he says, is negatively impacting the economies of the region.
For us here in the Caribbean, the lifeblood of our economy is foreign exchange. If we can't trade, and tourism sector is a major component of that trading environment, if we can't get the foreign exchange in, then our economies are strangled. The foreign exchange is critical for us. So this impact on trade is very, very key. If we're unable to sell our product or services, we still have the need to import goods and services from abroad. We don't make everything that we consume here.
Credit unions in Grenada on Thursday joined in the international celebration of Credit Union Day 2017 under the theme Credit Union, Dreams Thrive Here. President of the Grenada Cooperative League Limited, Philip Telesford, made a call for greater unity among credit unions. Telesford highlighted that in recent years, there has been a dramatic contraction of the banking services, collapse of insurance companies, and huge increases in banking fees. He stressed that if forces were merged, the members are the ones that will benefit.
I want to encourage us, brothers and sisters, to continue to work together to build this noble movement. Work together to build the credit union movement. For if we work together, no mountain will be too high to climb. But if we work separately in our little corners, we will find it more difficult to achieve desired outcomes.
According to Telesford, in the face of the rising cost of living, it is crucial to cushion the effects of these high prices by becoming more creative. He suggested using credit unions as business models.
Is there anything wrong in investing in a supermarket or a hardware store where members can shop at discounted prices? In these times of increasing prices and rising cost of living, we must think outside the box in order to bridge the divide of poverty. I submit to you that credit unions as a business model is even more relevant today than any other time in the history of this, our beloved nation.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The house was shaking. Then suddenly saw we hear bang, crack, and the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office.
A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and SEDERA.
As part of its mandate to accredit current and future tertiary institutions in Grenada, the Grenada National Accreditation Board is hosting an evaluators training workshop from October 18th to the 20th at the Karani James Athletic Stadium. Details from Annette Moore.
The Grenada National Accreditation Board, which began operations in 2014, is making steady progress in the area of accreditation. Tertiary institutions must now be registered with and accredited by the board.
You must have external evaluators to do that. Part of the work plan of GNAB is to train external evaluators.
The 3-day workshop is expected to prepare evaluators to become part of the team who will assess the island's 2 main tertiary institutions, the T.A. Marichaud Community College and the St. George's University, later this year, with the support of the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago.
So that we can measure the quality, like students' assessment, like the quality of the facility, the knowledge of faculty and staff about the mission, objective, their participation and management structures, a whole range of areas that is important for external investigators to look at.
At the end of it, these institutions would be recognized at an international level. So when students plan to further their study outside of Grenada or outside of the Caribbean, our institutions can be recognized, and this is the whole point of the workshop, to be ready and get ready for these changes.
We plan to start the registration process of STU in November. Therefore, the evaluators would become registered with GNAB.
3 facilitators versed in the area of accreditation from Trinidad are conducting the training.
The evaluators, once trained, will have a very clear understanding of their role as evaluators, their responsibilities once they become part of an evaluation team, that they're willing to commit their time, their resources to evaluating institutions to ensure that they meet the standards.
This is a very beneficial and enlightening workshop. I was not aware of the extent to which the sort of material that have to be provided for such a review.
Kishon Francis, probably the youngest evaluator in training, has already accessed higher education due to the Accreditation Board's ability to verify the validity of his first degree.
Because of that, I was successfully accepted in one of the top 10 schools in London, which is Brunel University.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
And that's the National Report. I am Rikisha St. Louis.